Hey guys, how's it going? March 24th, 2019. It's been a while. It's been a bit of a struggle as of late, to say the very least. So, yeah, my son, he is back to school on a part time basis. Basically, he's been forced back, as far as I can tell, anyways. But he was doing better. I think he was doing better on his own. He's basically physically now taken a step way back. So um, yeah, it's a pretty sad situation, really. Um, Basically now, I have to hold him up to walk. Um, I don't think there's anything, I there's nothing life threatening here or anything like that. I don't even think there's any major risk of how would I say? I don't think there's a major risk of any other complications, but I do think there's risk of injury. But hopefully we'll see how far this goes, because I want him to get better, obviously, and this is the way people are thinking. He's going to get better by using the muscles and all this other stuff, but I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on. So, but we'll see how that goes. I'm still upbeat. Uh, he's taking it pretty good. He's still in a lot of pain. The painkillers don't work, and but otherwise he's in as best spirits as you can get. I was gonna go watch some trains tonight. I feel guilty of doing that, to be quite honest. I've actually felt guilty of doing a lot of things lately. So it's been a rough time for me, especially as mom. So, but yeah, that's the home front right now. So for now, though, I'm going to focus my. I guess I'll take out my frustration on Run8. Sounds good. So maybe that's why I'm going to rant a bit about this. So let's go ahead and. I'm not going to take a look at Run8's website or anything like that. For basically what you guys are aware of is, if you're not already, is that Run8 recently, not only did they create, they did a free update, which is great. It's good for those that are still running Run8. I haven't been running it probably for a couple weeks now. At least it seems that way. My live streaming has been down to nothing. I'm certainly participating. I actually am still purchasing other. In fact, this one right here, Soviet Union Soviet Union Workers and Resources Soviet Republics, I should say, Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, was the latest program I brought, and this does have trains. It has a lot of things. This is probably one of the best city builder games I've seen. It's a little rough around the edges. It just got released to Steam. It is just under $30 Canadian. So, with US, it's going to be a little bit cheaper. So compare that to $40 for a route that is, for single player, is practically. If I want to operate it as real as it gets, forget it. I'm not going to be able to. And I'll tell you, when I first heard it was coming, I was a little bit excited at first. I thought, whoa, this is actually a good section traffic-wise. It's manageable. But then we've got the same issue that we have had now for any additional route that's been added to Run8. There's an assumption that if you have the core base, whatever the core base is, anything you connect to does not require a spawn point coming from it. And that is something they could easily add. Easily. And quite frankly, one of the best examples of it Take a look at the northeast routes. Take a look at that region. There is spawn points practically everywhere. So you can operate a lot smaller of a territory. That is the only playable route, and unfortunately, I say playable. Unfortunately, there are a few things that the hump's not doesn't work well with reefers and auto racks. So it has its issues, but it is still you still can do something with it, and be for the most part pretty damn prototypical within a limited region. Just I was even thinking of doing Syracuse not too long ago. I thought about it, just to run the Syracuse area, and I may still do it someday. If I'm going to do anything, I may do that. But at this point, I just have a bad taste with Run8 now. I really do. I mean, I know I know this is not the popular opinion. I can tell you right now, a lot of people are all gun happy and happy to spend their money on something else, and it's great that the developers are getting money, but I think money is it's really the only opinion. I mean, yeah, they're listening to some people on certain forums and whatever, but money is the ultimate way of showing satisfaction with something. If you put a product out there, you just put it out there, and believe me, I had no idea this was coming. It was kind of a surprise to see it. I'd love to say it was a good surprise, but I had no idea they were working on that section. The last I heard was Seligman. I did hear a long time ago Yuma and was it Yuma, Yermosub, Alaska. I don't know what happened to Alaska, but it doesn't look like they ever really did anything with it. Perhaps they wanted snow or by then or something. I don't know. But that never came to be. And we're still stuck with 3 regions. I posted a message, and I won't quote you on everything from it. It's just basically a message on TrainSim that kind of sums up what I'm saying here. I thought I'd mention that if you want to read. I mean, it's getting very few people agree. There's some people that agree with me, or I say some because there's one person on the forum who agrees with me, and there's I think Scott's in agreement, though Scott did purchase it. So I mean, it's manageable. I mean, if you want to switch industries, but you're just not going to be able to, under single player, be able to operate. Can 2 people do it? Yeah, if somebody's spawning in traffic. My first thought on this was, maybe I should get RTS done. Maybe I should just do it. And I think about this every time a new route comes out. Well, maybe I should get RTS done. And in theory, this is probably, other than Sanford on the southeast line, this is probably one of the easiest lines that you could possibly run. That's an actual main line that has dispatching. I shouldn't say that. The northeast is easy to dispatch, but it's unfortunately double track and relatively flat railroading gets to be pretty boring, despite the beauty after a while. And this is why eye candy only takes you so far. Eye candy is great to get you excited and to see it, but I mean, I look on the background here. I assume this is the Canadian Rockies. I don't know for sure, but I've been on the Canadian several trips. I usually go, it seems like every 5 years. I've been out there 6 times. I have family out on the west coast on Vancouver Island, and I love taking the trip, but it is expensive to certainly take it. And the last time I went, I didn't appreciate it as much as I used to. The only reason where I appreciated it more was that my son can remember it. So I was more excited for him than it was for me. For me, it was not the same. I noticed it last time. That was when I realized, I've seen this trip. This has become familiar for me. And there was a time where man, I miss taking that trip. Because you run over a line, and you don't see certain areas. And but I've gone through Jasper and Winnipeg and Edmonton. I've seen it enough times that it's familiar about. Now, does that mean I wouldn't want to go on a trip out west? Absolutely. But do I want to spend four-figure trip to go out and see basically the same thing? And that's the whole point of doing it, is to see it, to actually see it. And of course it's trains, we know that, but I've done it so many times now. If I had money and it was a vacation, I just wanted to sort of, you can't even relax unless you get a sleeper. I've never got a sleeper on those, so maybe one of these days I'll do it again in a sleeper. But I told my son, I said, the next time we go out, I said, we're going to drive across. We're going to take a different way. We're going to drive through the mountains. That'll be a little bit different. And I said, and guess what? The next time we go out is probably when you turn 16. He's 10 now. So that's not too far away. I mean, once he has his license or he's capable, I don't think he'll be ready at 16 because they have graduated licensing now here in Canada, or at least Ontario. So I don't know, how that would work or whatever, but that's something I would love to do with him, for sure. And back on the Run8 thing, and you might be thinking, well, okay, so what's your beef with it? And the issue is very simple. All they had to do was put spawn points. And if they had put spawn points in it, I would have bought it. I would have held back on workers, despite the fact that my son really wanted this game. He really wants a lot of games. So the way he's feeling lately, and I know, he's I go into weekends now and I don't know what to expect. I'm almost terrified of weekends at this point, because I don't, not that I'm terrified of weekends, but there's a lot of stress, and Jackie's under a lot of stress, and it's like I really don't know what to expect on weekends. So if I can do anything, and we got to watch the finales of a wrestling tournament in Japan today. It was great. It was a great diversion. Buying that game was also a great diversion. And yeah, I just got a game not too long ago, but I haven't been spending money on trips. We missed March break. We really didn't go anywhere. I could have gone out tonight and watched train. In fact, I was going to. I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay, and then I started thinking about it, and I still may go at 7 o'clock Eastern right now. I haven't decided for sure, but I don't think I'm going to be going out tonight. And I feel too weird not, going without my son. And that's, the bottom line is how I feel about that. So obviously there's a lot on my mind, but getting back to the whole Run8 thing, when you have such a big territory to start with, because when they put needles in, needles became the westbound spawn point. So yeah, you can spawn UP. In theory, I suppose you could have gone the UP way and spawn, just ran UP. That would have been somewhat interesting if they had gone that way. Although the UP yard is right by BNSF anyway, so BNSF running rights would be going through. So I don't know how you'd manage to do that, but you could go that way. But everything, you're still dispatching, and that's not too bad. I mean, running out of Mojave's not too bad, but you're dispatching a fairly large territory, and what do you have with this?
BNSF, the difference there was UP. You have to pay attention to what the hell you're doing with the dispatching on the Mojave sub. But once you get past that, and yeah, there's Amtrak trains and all that stuff. That makes it interesting. Actually, I was kind of, that really gives some added interest to the Amtrak station in Bakersfield. So there's a lot of cool things and cool opportunities they had. But the fact that they don't have a spawn point means if you're a single player, you have to spawn. Say you wanted to run just Bakersfield, or even if you wanted to run up to Edison. Let's assume for the moment we put Edison. You don't have to run all the UP trains, but let's say just to give Bakersfield Yard a little bit of extra something so it can run some stuff out to Edison as well. And you run all you run all the traffic between Fresno and Bakersfield. So you dispatch that territory. You can spawn everything east. That's not a problem. And any addition that they create that goes further west, they're always going to have another westbound spawn point. Eastbound spawn point. The problem is there's no westbound spawn points. You have to go all the way, if you want to do it prototypical, well, there's 2 ways of doing it. 3 ways. If you want to, actually you can go 4 ways. The one way is the prototypical way, and that is to run traffic out of, it's not even prototypical to be quite honest, because you'd almost have to operate Barstow if you wanted to run trains out of, they don't even have a spawn point in Barstow. So anything that's running, you could in theory run run a spawn point out of UP if you wanted to, and just run them and just do the Mojave sub and treat it as a BNSF only, I suppose, or fleet it. But the problem with fleeting, when you fleet a line to as a source, the biggest problem is the closest spawn point is Highland, or was it Vincent or whatever the hell it is? I can't remember the name of it. There's the one where the Soledad Canyon or whatever that comes up off of that one line. You could spawn, and that's a smaller siding anyways. A lot of trains don't even fit it. But the other way is if you wanted to stick to BNSF, you could possibly spawn in east coming out of Cajon sub. You could spawn all traffic that's BNSF coming out of there, and then you fleet everything around. But the problem with fleeting is once you get to places, especially one if you're coming across a desert, that's a place where intermodal traffic is going to catch up to the lower HPT freights, and especially once you got to Mojave, because Mojave, anything with a typical manifest grade is going to slow up everything else. So if you have auto racks, pardon me, if you have auto racks or intermodal traffic, what happens is that's a 6-hour trip, let's say, or even 4 hours, typical for an intermodal to get through there. Yeah, you got a 23-mile-an-hour limit. Okay, and you're going downhill from Summit, so the majority of it is downhill. So it's not too bad. The only place where you can really snag up is past Sandcut. That's when the speed starts picking up. The issue is Mojave, because anything that you spawn out and it starts heading up, it's going to go a lot slower. And if the next train that comes, I mean, the only place you can do it is UP. The next train that comes, if an intermodal comes within 15 minutes or so, like unless you're going to spawn once an hour, you might get lucky. But it's very easy for an intermodal train to catch up to a manifest freight on that. And I mean, you could do it, but you would really have to get lucky. And I suppose if you divided your times up, in theory, if you ran off a UP and just fleeted everything, it might be doable. And so maybe I'm overblowing that to proportion, because it could be potentially doable. The other stretch would be coming out of Sandcut, because there's a stretch there where intermodals can run faster. So again, now those are places where intermodal should catch up to the manifest. Not to mention the climb to summit. The climb to summit would be the most brutal because those speeds are much higher, and intermodal traffic's the catching distance, the amount of time it takes to come up. Now, if you ran out of needles, you're asking for a lot of trouble there, because you run if you did spawn out of needles and ran the whole prototypical route and fleeted it, you're going to have backlogs. And I mean, it's doable, and you can do it if you're okay to having a bunch of backlogged train. What will happen is you'll get bunches of trains that come up onto your territory where you have a manifest in front and a bunch of faster traffic behind it, and then I suppose it gives you a challenge to run it around, but it's not really that prototypical to see, as far as I'm concerned. And no, in thinking of it and thinking it out a little bit, it's probably not as drastic as it sounds, but we shouldn't have to go through that. There should be a spawn point. It's just that simple. The other way I looked at it was if I was to continue with RTS. If I was to develop RTS, a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, a few people have asked if I'm going ahead with RTS2, and originally, not too long ago, I said I was. And then I had second thoughts once again. I just couldn't get into it with what's going on. I decided that I don't want to give myself any extra stress that I don't need. So I said, no, I'm not doing it, at least not right now. And I couldn't see myself actually, even for this, okay, the traffic's not too bad, but anytime you spawn a train, let's say you're running a yard, or even if you're running let's say you're running a mainline train while dispatching, and you want to spawn a train. Well, you can spawn a train. There's no problem with spawning an RTS train. The problem with spawning an RTS generated train, if it was compatible and working, if you spawn an RTS generated train, you have to then AI the train you're in, because you need to take ownership of the train that's coming in order to make it AI, because anything you just spawn will not go AI. And that's something that I've wanted to see. If that option was put into Run8, or if it was put into Run8's code, so that when you spawn something, it actually goes ahead and automatically, or you have an option in the spawn to go AI, that wouldn't be so bad, because then suddenly you got, okay, now you can spawn trains at least while you're running. So if you wanted to have a train sheet list of all the times, and maybe ahead of time you know what the call list of trains that you want to run at certain times, and you spawn them, then single player is possible. And then that makes it feasible for me personally to purchase it. But you have to have the ability to AI those trains. Can this be run as a two-person operation? Yes, it can. But in order to do it properly, one person has to act as train master. And for me right now, number one, my internet connection's not the greatest. Communication, Scott would be the closest ally that I have. He's got the route, and I've ditched on him plenty of times where I said, I'll give it a shot, I'll run, and I just get burnt out, and then his time doesn't match with my time, and then you're on your own. So for me now, my destiny's in my own hands. I know by making that decision, I know what I'm missing out on. I'm missing out on probably a cool new route. I'm missing out on running trains, which I like to do, especially in something that's prototypical and that's operationally sound. But there's a lot of work that would go into getting even RTS up to to be able to do the code. Right now, it's just, this ain't the time. We're getting closer to spring. I went out for a walk today. The temperature's nice. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get out due to obvious reasons. So if I get a half-hour walk sometime, that's great. I could certainly be going out tonight. I may go out still tonight. I'm not sure. Honestly, at this point in my frame of mind, I need to give myself an opportunity to sleep as much as possible. I need to be strong for my son, for his mom, and I just can't do it. I cannot. As much as I need the break, I can't do it. Not right now. And it's okay, because I got things here that even though I hate running video games after I play video games on the weekend, but we watched a lot of wrestling this weekend, so I'm probably gonna play around with some of these games tonight. I've already done a little bit of housework, and just take it easy. And I'll keep an eye. I got the ATCS monitor going here, just checking to see what's going on now. But what do we got here? Yeah, nothing. Unfortunately, at the moment. Unless that's 3:30, I may go out to see that. But well, we'll see. If 3:30, it's got to be train 3:30. That's the only one that's coming down here tonight. Amtrak's already been through. So I was going to drive up to Copetown or even Brantford tonight. And you can see the actions there. I mean, unfortunately, I live all the way down here, so yeah. If I was gonna go, I'm gonna go, right now. But there's other things I should be doing. I think I got some people that I want to reach out to, family, and do a little bit of research and just give myself a little bit of a break. I can do it here, so I might go for one more walk this evening. But no, other than that, it's 9 degrees Celsius right now. It's beautiful. I just might go out for a walk and check the sunset if I can see it. I don't know, but anyways, guys, sorry for being negative as usual, as it seems these days. But I wish I had some better news on this. And as always, you can post on my forum, and I still. Not too much action going on my forum these days for obvious reasons, as well as my YouTube channels, but we'll see what happens. It's one of those things. I'll just have to see what happens. I'm not in a very creative mood these days. So, but anyways, guys, have a good one, and I'll try to keep in touch as much as possible. Take care. Bye-bye.